The Searchers! The Searchers!
If I was an analyst of rock and roll, which I am not, people try to analyze rock and roll all the time, and they're all down the tubes as far as I'm concerned. People try and tell me why I started to sing rock and roll. Well, they got it all wrong. But if I was an analyst, I would say that it was necessary for the 60s to happen, because people like ourselves platformed off from Elvis, Jerry Lee Lewis, all the American stars, and started to get a European, non-American feel to pop music, to pop rock. But we could only start that off. All our influences were those Americans. And it needed the Beatles and the Liverpool sound. It needed the Searchers and all the other guys to come along and just remove it from where we'd brought it and take it further. And I sit here and say that the Searchers were good. They were just good at what they did. They were blatant about the songs they sang. And my praises can never be too high for bands like the Searchers. They did a great deal to bring songs to the fore. There was something about the sound of the guitars. I love the way they sang Needles and Pins.
Needles and pins, needles and pins, that bring back good memories.
There's a basic simplicity about the chord sequence. You know, I wrote about 4 songs after that and scrapped them all because they were all needles and pins. I did a song called Clear Blue Skies, and I did Clear Blue Skies, and it's because of needles and pins, I guess.
How did you get your first recording deal? Tell us how it happened.
Well, everybody at that time, like the Jerry, Beatles, have had hits, Cilla Black, and all the A&R men were coming from London and looking for bands. In fact, we were one of the last bands to have a hit out of Liverpool.
Tops of the last 30 years, in fact, has been the event at Wembley Stadium with Cliif Richard. We never thought at our stage in our career that we would get to play Wembley Stadium in front of 80,000 people on each of 2 days. I mean, admittedly on the back of Cliff, who was so incredibly good to us, having us as his guests on that show. We'll be eternally grateful for it, but that was got to be the most outstanding memory, and will be for as far as I can see, unless something more wonderful comes along.
You know, what the Searchers did that day was to fill that gap that I couldn't do myself, a period of time that was not representative of my music, really. I mean, I lived through that period, and yes, you can pick out the songs I had hits with in the 60s, but the 60s, whether I like it or not, was known for another type of band, another type of singer. And so it was great for my audience to hear that. And of course, my audience actually spans all these different... They love the Searchers. I mean, that day was fantastic to hear that crowd singing Walk in That Room. I mean, it's just wonderful to hear them do that, and I remember getting a great kick from it too.
I played a place in Brentford, and the Searchers were on, and I was supporting. And I happened to be playing a few 60s things and etc. in the band. And John, talking to me afterwards, etc., and remembered it, puts onto their agent, etc., etc. And I get a phone call one day.
Said you were rubbish?
Yeah. John said, "Oh, you're rubbish, and you're bad enough to play with the Searchers."
What qualifications did you need to have to get into the Searchers?
Play drums?
No, it has to fit the suit.
Yeah. Oh, everybody has to fit the suit to join the Searchers. The one suit. Sorry, what was the question again?
When you go and see the Searchers, you know that you're going to have a great evening of great pop rock music.
And then they had an all Liverpool Thank You Lucky Stars, remember it? And they wanted one more band, Liverpool band, to open the show up, and they gave it to us. And we opened up with Sweets for My Sweet, and it was a hit. 2 weeks later it was #1.
Sweets for my sweet, shake it for